Your Expeditions into Spirit guide, Val Jon here. For over 1,000 years, the ancient city of Uxmal stood as one of the great ceremonial centers of the Mayan world. But these ruins were far more than temples and palaces. They functioned as a sophisticated cosmological university, a place where astronomy, consciousness, mathematics, and sacred architecture were woven together into a forgotten science of reality itself. Today, we journey deep into the Yucatán Peninsula to explore the mysteries hidden within these ancient stones, the encoded symbolism of the Pyramid of the Magician, and the possibility that the builders of Uxmal understood humanity's connection to the cosmos in ways modern civilization is only beginning to rediscover. This isn't just a tour of ruins, it's an expedition into an ancient worldview that has the power to change lives.
Okay, we're here at Uxmal, and Uxmal is an ancient temple. Behind me is the two-headed jaguar. I believe represents paradox. One of the heads of the jaguar is higher than the other, and I believe that what this represents is the upper world, and connected to it is also the lower world, and that this paradox is the main theme at this ancient university, actually teaching the Maya about how to hold the paradox of life, being infinite in our nature and being finite in our presence. And that the fundamental teachings that they did here had to do with the linkages between the stars and the human heart. What we're going to do is explore some of the halls and some of the other ruins here at Uxmal and see if we can learn more about what the actual ancient magicians and scholars and philosophers taught here in this remarkable place. So come on with us and let's do some more exploration. Here you can see this is not just a site, this is actually a campus. So behind me you can see that there's a huge campus here, a campus area with lots of different rooms. Each of these rooms, the legend and folklore is that in each of these rooms there was a different lesson about the cosmos, about human nature that was taught to the Maya people. 25,000 people would come to this campus at any one time in order to learn about what the Maya called the grand astrological order, or the combination, the interconnection between the upper world, which is the Hunab Ku, the center axis of the cosmos, where all creation exists, all the way down to each individual human being, right here in the below of being human and in the human heart and in their relationships with their families, with their community, with their empire. An absolutely majestic interconnection between the above and the below, and then bringing that connection between the above and below from within to without. An incredible philosophy that was lived by the Mayan people.
Uxmal was a late classic Maya city flourishing roughly from 700 to 1000 CE and was strongly connected to astronomy, rulership, rain rituals, and ceremonial governance for the entire empire. The two-headed jaguar throne at Uxmal is especially important in that the jaguar represented night consciousness, the movement between worlds, underworld passageways, and the hidden wisdom that resides within the core of the human psyche. The notion of as above, so within was an essential philosophy for the Maya. The heart of Uxmal is the governor's palace, where the elders taught their initiates about the grand cosmological order and the wisdom of the stars. The stars were not objects to the Maya, they were living intelligences and embodiments of universal consciousness representing cycles of instruction, markers of transformation, and mirrors of life on Earth. This is why Venus was a main focus of study at Uxmal. Linked to their sky deity Kukulkan, Venus mirrored how to navigate the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, and how to wisely embrace the dynamics of paradox arising between opposites. Standing on these sacred grounds, it's easy to imagine ancient scholars gazing up into the heavens and encouraging initiates to gaze along with them as they pointed the way to the universal knowledge of cosmological order. It was here on these grounds that I began exploring what I call interstellar consciousness as a way to gain access to the living intelligence the ancients communed with centuries ago.
We're exploring the theme of the double-headed jaguar, which is the paradox of as above, so below. Behind me over here is the Temple of the Magicians, and the Temple of the Magicians is an icon, a symbol of the ancient Maya philosophy of this grand astrological order. So here we're going to go explore the Temple of the Magicians and see what secrets lie. So let's go. Okay, so here we are at the Temple of the Magicians, an incredible structure of 1,000 years ago or more. The stairs ascending to the heavens and to the magicians' cosmological information and teachings that were taught here at Uxmal. The teachings here were oriented around that double-headed jaguar that we saw at the beginning of our exploration of this site. And that jaguar wisdom is the paradoxical wisdom of as above, so below, as within, so without. And the Maya also believed that the jaguar and other animals possessed natural inspired wisdom or knowledge that existed inside them at an innate level, almost at an animal level, and that the Maya believed that human beings also shared in this ancient Maya kind of knowledge or sacred information that existed within the animal world, the underworld, the middle world, and the upper world. And here at the Temple of the Magicians, I believe that what was taught was this philosophy, but taught in a very specific way, in a magical way. Instead of instruction or placing structure into people, I believe that here at this university, on this campus, the way the ancient magicians taught the Maya was in the Socratic method, or to draw out information, the innate natural information and wisdom that exists inside of all human beings. The name Uxmal means three, and we know from the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world that they embodied that philosophy. But the second part of the name, Mal, is what gives me the inclination to think that the Socratic method of teaching existed here on this complex, in this university. And Mal means inside. Well, inside what? Inside human beings is this ancient knowledge, this jaguar wisdom that I believe that the magicians that did their magic and their teachings here at this temple and the other temples on this complex drew out that Socratic knowledge, that wisdom that existed inside of the Maya people and still exists inside of us today. All right, so that concludes our expedition here at Uxmal. The as above part of the paradox, which has to do with the rising to the heights, as you can see here behind me, the observatories to the stars, the part of human nature that has to do with spirituality and the aspirations, an incredibly inspiring complex and university here at Uxmal. Next, we're going to be going on an adventure into the depths, into the underworld, or the as below. So we're going to be heading for Ashkentak, which is the sister complex that I believe where the initiates were taken, not necessarily 25,000 of them that would show up at the university here, but maybe a handful, a group of apprentice magicians who were going to learn in a more direct experiential way the lessons that were taught here in terms of the jaguar wisdom by actually going into their own labyrinth inside of themselves, inside of their own psyche or the hidden areas of their lives, and to face and confront their deepest fears, their deepest joys, their deepest loves, and their deepest attachments that would keep them from being able to travel into the higher, more aspirational, inspirational parts of themselves, just like today with you and I. So let's go ahead and head for Ashkentak and see what the adventure holds in store. As we travel west from the University of Uxmal to her much smaller sister site, Ashkentak,
The key lesson resounding within us has to do with the Jaguar wisdom of paradox, and particularly Uxmal's curriculum of as above, so below. The Maya were both cosmologists and philosophers, and because of their dual focus, they perceived the heavens above as a kind of mirrored reflection into the below of their inner selves. Through centuries of observation, the Maya came to realize that life itself is a kind of orbital process. One pass may be creation or birth, another pass destruction or death, and yet another pass recreation or new birth, and on the revolutions go. Embracing this orbital paradox of life and death and rebirth may be the greatest challenge we have as human beings, and one of the most liberating as well. To understand the importance of embracing paradox, consider how many people reach the end of their lives and grieve the life they never lived. It dawns on them in their final days that they avoided life's constant flow of paradoxes. Instead of having the courage to face into the dilemma of loving and the pain that accompanies it, they denied letting themselves love fully, instead of opening to their vulnerability and allowing themselves to be hurt so they could deepen their resilience and come into contact with their inner strength. They guarded their hearts, robbing themselves of the spontaneity of being fully present and alive. Instead of taking risks and being willing to show their frailties, humanness, and ignorances, they played it safe, close to the vest, so they would arrive at the moment of their death safe and sound, as if that were a fulfilling accomplishment. Indeed, the Maya civilization ultimately fell, but the Maya spirit and Maya people live on today, and they still embrace the Jaguar wisdom of paradox that their ancestors embraced. Having had the privilege of visiting their humble villages and sharing meals and conversations with them during our expedition, I can say with absolute certainty they are some of the most fulfilled, loving, resilient, and spiritually human people I've ever met. Yes, I say, bring on the Jaguar wisdom. Let me come face to face with her and allow her to consume my complacency, my comfort, my need for safety, and a predictable life. If this virtual expedition inspired you and you want to see more, give it a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and I would appreciate your support. See you next time here on Expeditions into Spirit.